So what you gonna do, brother? We about to run wild with a style like no other. So somebody call Brodus Clay mother and tell her Richard runs are the men like Ed Lover and Doc Dre. What Scott say, what they hang on every word like it's something that the Rock say. No JR, but they talking wrestling. We bring the noise with the boys, so we Dalton Castling. So masculine, oozing machismo, mutton chop shop, Gran Turismo. No free throws, snarl hoops and heels. Steve Ross retirement, give you the super feels. Straight shoot, it's real. Drop a pipe bomb, get ready to bull like the Rock's right arm. So stay calm, tranquilo. I'll go Naito and give them Destino. And we know that you chumps ain't ready for the heartbreak runs and the Cuban Genetti. They drop it heavy, tag team it like Teddy. Long go strong with the heat like Eddie. So steady like when Taker walked the tightrope. Spaz like Taz with the mic in a tight choke. Dirtiest player in the game with the eye poke. 1988 Macho Man on a lot of coke. These other cats are a waste, they boring. Illegitimate sons like Jason Jordan. And Richard Runz never give him respect unless they going on air with a broken frickin' neck. So bounce like Papa Pump's pecs. Every time they get down, they bound to catch wreck. Y'all don't know nada, they the Okadas. You're the Washington Generals, they the Globetrotters. A whole lot of podcasts in the scene, but Richard Runz running wild is the cast of your dreams. So it seems these two is too sweet. Bullet Club pulling up with schemes to delete. So retreat, we steal, we cheat, but I never lie, I swear on these beats. And these two got some styles for you, but what you gonna do when they run wild on you?
Oh, hell yeah. It's the Big Dog Red Tires. And you're listening to the Running Wild podcast. Because if you're trying to run wild, this is the place to do it.
Do you want to let everyone know that you get it? Do you not want to be a Melvin? Well, then listen to the Running Wild podcast. And if you don't, you know what you are.
I'm the last real man, Silas Young. And if you're any kind of man, you'll be listening to the Running Wild podcast.
Hi guys, this is Mandy Leon, and you're listening to the Running Wild podcast.
This is Sam Adonis, El Juro de las Chicas, the CMLL, and you are listening to the Running Wild podcast.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Running Wild podcast. I'm your host, Rich. Alongside me, as always, my co-host, Runz.
Yes, sir.
Just before we get started, I want to remind you that we're brought to you in partnership with pwponderings.com, rohworld.com, and lastwordonprowrestling.com. We're also featured on the Wrestling to the Max network. All right, so we have a lot to talk about with Raw 25 coming up, the 205 Live tour that we're going to be attending in person, which is huge. FantasticaMania cards from New Japan.
Those are two very different worlds. Like, we have Raw 25 coming up and 205 Live.
Well, I just mean, we have the,
I know.
It sounds weird, but next episode's going to be super. Yeah, next episode's going to be there's going to be a lot of fallout from all these things that happen, you know. Yeah. But I'm hyped this week, man. There's a lot of good wrestling coming up. I wouldn't say that this last week of wrestling was fantastic on the WWE side. I just feel like they were.
It was from one view, in terms of all of the signings that took place.
Oh, the signings were ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, the outside of the ring news is huge, right? And I mean, do you want to start off with that, because that's really?
Yeah, there's no point not to.
All right, so this week WWE announced that, we had kind of heard rumblings about it before, and it kind of made sense already, but they officially announced that they signed Ricochet, they signed War Machine, and they signed Candice LeRae. War Machine, did you see the little bit of fallout, or I don't know if you got a chance to listen to Cheap Heat this week, what happened with Rosenberg and his mistake with War Machine?
No.
He basically said, he tweeted out, because the MMA guy was named War Machine and he got into a lot of trouble, and is in jail and stuff for doing terrible things to his wife, that WWE was going to have to change his name. And basically didn't know that War Machine was actually a tag team, and then came back and was like, listen, man, I don't watch every indie thing. So, and then someone was like, yo, ROH isn't an indie. And then he got, he was like, ROH is totally an indie, and then people just were taking the shots at him left and right. He started his show by going off for, I think a good 8 minutes, man, just an 8-minute rant about basically F you, I watched all that stuff, I was in it, I'm not anymore, I'm a WWE fan, that's what I watch, deal with it. Is essentially what he did.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's not like he has a lot of free time to, watch everything, and I don't think he's wrong. Like, I know ROH is backed by a company and all this stuff, but I still look at them as an indie. Like, it's not WWE, and it's not a giant company, Ring of Honor. You know what I mean? So, like, I don't know. I agree with what he's saying about that stuff.
I mean, it got crazy. Like Larry Dallas, he was commenting that basically, if you're working for indies, like, it means that you generally like have another job, and like if you're working for ROH, for example, you don't. Cody responded. It was like, I make a perfectly comfortable living, and I make more now in ROH than I ever did in WWE. Kenny King was like, I make a good amount of money.
Right, but what does that have to do with him not being an indie?
Well, I guess like Larry Dallas's point was a real indie. Well, if you're really working in indies, you're working like the small companies that, the guys work a 9 to 5 and then they wrestle on the weekends. With the Ring of Honor, almost all of their talent, all of the guys who are signed to exclusive deals.
So what's PWG?
Well,
what's Beyond? What's Evolve?
I mean, those are super indies, right? I mean, but those
are like, yeah, and indies. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think there's like categories. They are what they are.
Yeah, I mean, the truth is, Ring of Honor continued to try to like, be that same product, right? In many ways, and they started out as an indie, so they'll always have a little bit of that feel,
right?
But technically, I mean, if you're being technical, they're not.
But I think it's a negative connotation. You know what I mean? Like, I don't. In my mind, there's all the same. It's just wrestling that's not giant corporate wrestling. Or, you know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, the truth is that, as much as Ring of Honor is owned by a larger company, it's not like they're having...
They don't have billions of dollars invested in Ring of Honor,
Exactly. So, it's definitely up for the debate. I mean, if you want to be literal, people will say that they're not indie. I guess it depends. It all depends on your interpretation. I feel like if somebody else said it, let's say somebody was a little bit... the thing is, like, Sam Roberts wouldn't say something like that, right? He understands, like, that indie thing with Ring of Honor, because even on PW Ponderings, I mean, when we talk about it, sometimes we actually talk about how Ring of Honor is technically not really an indie, but we still cover it.
Right.
And I'm glad, because I'd be out of a job if we weren't covering it there. So I get that, but at the same time, I feel bad for Rosenberg, because I really do feel like if it had been somebody else that people feel like really knows about wrestling, it'd be cool. This dude comes out and talks about War Machine being him, and then follows it up by saying ROH is an indie. I just feel like he just opened the door to abuse.
Right, and I mean, making that mistake and then backing it up with his feelings of that, and that didn't help. But I mean, like I said, the guy has 7 jobs. I mean, he a lot of people watch or listen to everything he does. There's going to be some haters. There's going to be some people who are angry that he doesn't belong on WWE and all that kind of stuff. And hey, it is what it is. Get over it. The guy worked hard. He got where he is. Yeah, I don't blame him for not being able to watch countless hours of wrestling that are on weekly and monthly. So you know what I mean.
I would just be careful.
Maybe it would like help him to know who War Machine was, but I don't know. Like I've watched Ring of Honor, and I don't know that like there's anything that from this past year that like I've been like, oh man, you've got to watch this Ring of Honor show. That hasn't really happened for me.
All right, that's fair. I mean, I won't lie. If in 10 years, we're on WWE programming, and that's all we're doing, I don't know. Well, I don't know, but I feel like we're wrestling nerds. We might look it up.
Right, but there's going to be people who are like, why the hell is Sam Roberts on my TV? Why the hell is Rosenberg on the TV? And
those people. They're haters.
Get over it. You know what I mean? Right.
They're living the dream, man. I wish I could be one of those two guys.
Exactly. Every single person who says that would trade places with them in a split second. they were diehard fans of the product.
Did
who
you see the
worked hard enough and became big enough where they got a job hosting pre-shows? Who cares?
Did you see the 25 best moments of Raw special? No. All right, so Rosenberg and Corey Graves hosted it, and at the beginning, Corey's like, "Well, you have the top 10 in your pocket in the envelope, the special envelope, right?" And he's like, "Yo, I can't find it." And then he says that he had been in the factory or the storage facility. So now he goes there, and Sean Mooney pops up out of nowhere, and he's trying to help him find the envelope. And the gobbledygooker's there, and the conquistadors are there, and like he's finding all this like random stuff, and random people are popping out. And then like suddenly GTV starts back up, and in the end you find out through GTV that Rosenberg had been running the ropes in the ring, and it fell out. Mooney grabbed it, and then it was like, "Yo, what's going on?" And he's like, "Oh, I lost my envelope." He's like, "Let's go look for it." So that's how like the whole journey started. It was like very Bobby Heenan like type stuff. You know, I thought it was, and he was actually wearing that jacket he has, the Peter Rosenberg that's in the Heenan style. Like I can almost forgive everything that he said because that was so good. Like that's amazing. Imagine how much you would mark out to just be hanging out with Sean Mooney, walking around the WWE storage facility, bro. Seeing like all the old props. Like that's insane. So props to him, man. Like people can say what they want to say, but the truth is, I don't know a lot of us who would turn down that position.
No.
All right, so on to actual. Oh wait, so what do you think about how they're, the signings of those four?
Well, yeah, I mean, we didn't mention. Oh well, you mentioned them, and then we went into this whole Rosenberg thing. So, War Machine, Ricochet, Candice LeRae, all officially signed this week, and EC3 reporting to the Performance Center, and reportedly being signed or about to be signed, whatever. So those are four guys, not including Candice LeRae, who will be a factor in the women's division because she's so good, that have a spot in WWE's history, like big tag teams, big, huge, athletic guys. Ricochet flipping all over the place, awesome in the ring. And EC3, who can talk his ass off. These are guys that WWE has favored in the past. EC3 coming back with a chip on his shoulder from the first time. I'm assuming, I'm hoping, I'm hopeful that all of these guys pan out the way that they should, and I don't really see a way around it. Hopefully.
So. I mean, I agree with you. Like, I'm hopeful because I like all four people's all four signed, right? I mean, I've liked War Machine and Ring of Honor. I thought they were really great. I think it'll be interesting to see. I know it sounds weird how big they are compared to WWE guys, because I feel like a lot of times, who has talked about this?
But I know what you're saying. And like we've seen War Machine in person, they are big,
Yeah,
so,
no, they're big. Without spoiling, can you tell me, is it easy for Lucha Underground to write Ricochet off?
Yeah, it's done.
Oh, okay, all right. Like he actually has already been like written off TV, or like,
yeah.
Okay, I wasn't sure if it was like something like they had to do it coming up, because I know they have tapings in the next 2 weeks or so.
I mean, like, I feel like I can talk about how, because, like, when you see the setup for the match, you're clearly, like, you know what I mean?
Okay, all right.
It's a loser leaves lucha match.
All right.
Would you not have known that, like, he loses? He's leaving.
I don't know, man. Now it's like, I'm not even sure if I can watch it. No, I'll probably forget by the time I get there. I'm almost at the end of season 2, so.
No, but they do like an awesome job of him like walking out and dropping a mask and like all this stuff. It was shot really well.
I know this is just a random thought, but I remember one of the first things I saw from Lucha Underground was Vampiro pouring hot wax over Penta and then like beating him with a kendo stick and talking about how he can't show that he's hurt if he wants to face Matanza. And I remember thinking at that time, this is the dumbest shit I've ever seen. And then I watched it after watching every episode, and now I'm like, oh, yo, that makes sense because Matanza's like a beast. Like that guy's like supernatural. You need to go above and beyond. And I couldn't believe that I heard that voice in my head say that as I was watching it.
Right. But I think that is exactly the issue, maybe, or the thing with Lucha Underground is you have to watch.
Yeah.
You can't just put on one episode and watch it.
Like seeing
the stories that they tell, the characters that they have are so over the top or so based on, the actual stories that they're telling.
Yeah.
That you need to know them.
Like I remember that might have been the same episode, or maybe it was an episode before, where Siniestra de la Muerte goes and grabs the hearts of the other two guys, and like they die or something. And I remember the first time I saw that. I saw it out of context, and I was like, this is one of the dumbest things I've ever seen in my life in wrestling. And then now I'm like, yo, that dude's gonna take over, bro. Like, so it's so... I can't even believe that I'm saying that out loud, that I watched a man rip out the hearts of two other men and them disappear in lightning bolts, and me going like, yeah, man, this is legit. So... kudos to Lucha Underground.
I think that's the fun part. Right. Like, I think that's the fun part of Lucha Underground, like, that you do buy into that stuff. Because it's just, like, it's a show. Like, while I'm watching, I'm like, no, this is awesome. Like, these guys have an issue, and the way they settle their issue is by wrestling a match. Like, it's just funny.
Yo, here's the best quote ever. I think the best one-liner about Lucha Underground is, basically, Lucha Underground is the Harlem Globetrotters of basketball. Of wrestling. Like, they're just like, yo, we don't even give a shit.
Yes,
like, we're not even... This is not a game. Like, yo, you know who's going to fucking win. We're just doing this crazy shit to entertain you. And that's dope.
Come watch this. And then there are the matches between certain talents where you're like, holy shit, this is good stuff. And, we briefly talked about last week or whenever... about how we were both enjoying Rey Mysterio in Lucha Underground, and that's
so
something that I don't know can't be said since WCW. So I think that speaks to what they're able to do and the stuff they're able to tell on that show.
I can't. Man, I was so happy when they won the trios title, man. So fucking happy. It's kind of disturbing.
Yeah,
I don't even get it, but kudos. I'm really enjoying it. You guys will continue to get updates. So I guess let's go back to what we don't want to talk about.
Just finishing up.
Yeah.
You're a little more skeptical than I am about these guys having success, and skeptical, right? Or
yeah. I'm apprehensive.
These guys will have success, but we're both hopeful and confident enough in these guys' talent that they'll all be successful. And if used properly, it could be a lot of fun for all of them.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it was like maybe I probably felt the same way when I heard Jericho was going to WWF. I liked him so much in WCW, and he was getting a good amount of airtime because they had, especially when Thunder came along, they had so much time to fill. He was hilarious, and I was scared in WWE he wouldn't, he would just be an undercard guy, something like that. Like someone basically like a fancy enhancement talent. And I don't want that to happen to guys who I like. And I like Ricochet. I really like War Machine. I like Candice LeRae.
And it's so crazy. It's so crazy to me that you have that viewpoint when, like, that's you. You know what I mean? Like, there's a role. There's a role for those guys. Even if EC3 comes in and he wins the IC title, like The Miz, like, there's a role for that guy. There's a need for that guy. So,
yeah,
I don't know. Like, even if these guys come in and all they do is win the IC or US and tag titles, whatever, like as long as they're entertaining and involved in some good storylines, then that's a good run, you know?
Yeah, no, that makes a good amount of sense.
Like, what if in 6 months, like EC3 could be the IC champ, Ricochet could be Cruiser champ, and War Machine could be the tag champs, like that? It's not crazy.
No, I just
like these guys all fit in with the main roster right now too, so that's kind of cool because at the moment, like they could literally just go straight up there.
Well, I don't think. I mean, I'm sad, but I just don't think that. I don't see Ricochet making it to the main roster other than I mean, like I see him being on Raw because of 205 Live.
Right. So I mean, hey, he's still on Raw, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, true.
So that's fine. Go ahead, be on 205 Live, and hopefully there's a way out of that because I think he's not that it's even a bad thing, but I just think Ricochet is good enough that he can hold his own with anyone. But Neville, Aries, these are all guys that we felt the same way about, and they weren't given that chance. But I think the things that Ricochet can do in the ring, they've never had. Well, I mean, they've had Sydal, they've had Neville, but I don't know. In my mind, Ricochet is a different style, a different breed of performer. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty hopeful, and I think Sina LeRae. You would think she's gonna be in NXT. I mean, they're gonna openly. I mean, it's openly acknowledged, right, that she's married to Johnny, right? So, it would be great to see her like somehow. I mean, you have Almas with Selena Vega. Maybe
correct.
LeRae gets involved and like evens the odds, so Johnny can win the title eventually.
Yeah, I mean, it's not something that's out of the question. There can be mixed tag matches or anything of that nature with them, but I also wouldn't mind just kind of keeping them as separate as possible, right away.
Well, yeah, I just feel like Gargano is going to lose to Almas because of Vega, and he's going to need the evening
right now
chip.
it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
You're 100% right. So it could be, but who knows? I don't know. Like, do they put her in this rivalry when, like, clearly it's got to lead to Ciampa? So I don't know.
True. Well, I'm hopeful for all of them, honestly. So we'll see what happens. I'm still a little skeptical because I don't want to be disappointed terribly. But I think this looks like they're signing. I mean, they're stockpiling a crazy amount of talent. Like, if all those people go to NXT, it's those four. You've got Cole, Fish, O'Reilly, the Authors of Pain, Sanity, Almas, Aleister Black, Velveteen Dream, Leo Rush is down there, Donovan Dijak is down there. Like, it is bonkers.
Right, and I think, like, everyone you just mentioned is... they all have a different spot. You know what I mean? There are some power guys, there are some speed guys, there are some flyers, there are tag teams. So there are some guys who are straight main eventers, Cole and Black. I love Velveteen Dream, but I also, then they're like Velveteen Dream. He's a perfect intercontinental guy, and then there are perfect tag teams. And so I think there's a perfect show to be built. If you have Rush and someone else opening up the card, and then you have War Machine versus the Authors of Pain, and then you have Cole versus Black, right, in Philly, and you have Gargano against Almas. So, there's a way around. They have a lot of talent, but they have a lot of time and a lot of spots to fill. So, I don't think it's the worst thing.
All right, so what did you think of Raw?
Yeah, I mean, it was whatever. Braun getting fired was just kind of dumb. Like, okay, he gets fired. The worst that happens is he goes to SmackDown, or he's just rehired an hour and a half later. So, It was fun watching him just kill everyone. But other than that, okay, great.
No, I loved watching him kill everyone. It was great. Going to the production truck, throwing Hawkins through a table.
That was the thing I didn't like. He went to the production truck and was just like, "What if I press this button?" And then they all just came back in.
It's just so dumb.
He should at least go to set up a fake one and rip some TVs out of the wall or something.
Taking Michael Cole and chucking him. He's just...
Yeah, that was strange. Why? Why? it gave Tom Phillips.
Tom,
Phillips.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gave him a chance to call Raw, which, whatever, but I don't know. That was weird that they just got rid of Michael Cole. People don't really have sympathy for Cole, I guess maybe that's part of it, cheering Braun, but I don't know.
Yeah, because you're not gonna boo him for tossing Cole at all. It's just funny, and also it's not even that dangerous, man. He just crowd surfed.
Yeah, he threw him onto a bunch of people. That was great.
That's whatever. One of the things that stuck out for me on Raw, and this is kind of weird, but I thought I liked TJP's heel turn.
I didn't see that.
So he wrestled Cedric Alexander. I thought the match was actually pretty good. But then you have TJP frustrated after the match, and he's kind of just being pissed. He's pissed off that he's been losing. So he's kind of turning heel, and he's kind of that kind of when Christian was frustrated about how often he was losing and stuff like that. He's not pouting as much, but I kind of get that feeling. So I actually kind of liked it. It's weird that Goldust is getting such a huge push on 205 Live, though, because poor 205.
Yeah, that makes no sense.
Poor 205 Live. Anybody on that show, it's just that's not. There's no way Goldust is close to 205.
Right. And I don't Cedric Alexander. Why Goldust?
And he's good. He's good, but it's just poor guys.
It's very strange that Goldust tag team partners in WWE have been Booker T, R-Truth, and now Cedric Alexander. Just saying.
I don't think I ever really... That's amazing.
Just saying.
Oh, he's had other... Wow, you're right.
Yeah,
I think you're right.
Cody? I don't know.
Shit, I think you're right. All right. I thought the Asuka versus Nia match was okay. I mean, it's kind of a preview, but I feel like they can do more stuff going down the road. It's Asuka's the irresistible force, and Nia is the immovable object. So I like that matchup.
Yeah, it was. It's something that is going to be a Mania match, or a big draw women's match. Like you said, immovable force and whatever, immovable object, unstoppable force, whatever the hell. So that'll be good when it actually happens for real, and it's not just unadvertised throwaway on Raw.
And then the other thing that stuck out for me was Rollins Balor. I guess the big note from this match is that Rollins brought out the Blackout, which was formerly known as the Curb Stomp, to win, and Finn really sold that he was super hurt at it at the end. So that was kind of cool to see that. I was really surprised. I thought they were never going to do that move again. So overall, but
I wonder what the change of heart was. If he just kept pushing, yo, please, can I have my move back? Which, I mean, thank you, because I love that move. It's awesome. Please don't curve stop your friends at home, because I would like to see him keep that move. So, I mean, it's no more dangerous than anything anyone does. So it really made no sense why it was banned in the first place. So, hey, good for Rollins. Good for them for letting him use it again, and I'm looking forward to it. Rollins and Balor are cool because it was for the Universal title and all that stuff the first time.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Right now, I don't really care what Rollins is doing, and Balor, they conditioned me not to care about at the moment. So I don't know. It's strange.
Yeah, I mean, So, in terms of the curb stomp or now the blackout, I mean, some of the things I've been hearing, I don't know if I really believe, but essentially, what some people are saying is that the reason that they took away the curb stomp partially was because of the name. Have you ever seen American History X?
Yes.
Okay, so the curb stop scene. So the idea was that like it's racially tied, even though I don't really. I feel like this is. I've heard it on a couple podcasts, and I don't feel like that's really the reason. But whatever, that's what's out there. So now they brought it, they like, took it away, and now they brought it back, and they're calling it the blackout. So that's supposed to, I guess. Now it's enough time that it was away from that name that you can do that, and people won't.
I mean, they literally could have just started calling it the blackout, and everyone would have.
I mean, yeah, that's why I don't. That's why I don't believe that, because of the fact that
it's because
Cena
of how
had
easy
the FU.
It was to do to people.
Yeah, because Cena had the FU forever, and then changed it to the attitude adjustment. Like he literally adjusted everyone's attitude and thinking about the name of the move. But I mean, I thought FU was so much better, and they switched that out. So
FU and SDFU.
They had to get the FL, Yes.
Except they kept the F in, but all right.
Anyway, well, no. I'm saying afterwards they had to get the F out and change it to attitude adjustment. And what do they call the other one?
Well,
I can't.
I was thinking about the STF. It's still the STF.
Yeah. Oh, it is. That's right. Damn it. All right. It was so much better as the STFU. Like now, it just doesn't. It feels like the only reason he went for that move was because he had the FU and then the STFU, and this doesn't. Now it's just like, oh,
it's probable.
He's got a submission.
Makes perfect sense.
All right. So that was really basically Raw. It was really like more of the Braun being ridiculous. I mean, I feel like they were just like, I don't want to say lower everyone's expectations before next week. But it was just like, okay, guys, we got next week to worry about, okay? Like this is big.
It wasn't a bad show, but it was a go home show to the go home show. It was a go home show to the 25th anniversary of Raw, which is the go home show to the pay per view. So, I can't even be mad at them just kind of getting through that week to get to the next 2 weeks that matter. So it is what it is.
Here you go. Biggest lie of the week. Are you, or for me, I'm going to say this. Biggest lie of the week. I think I'm happy that we're not going to the 25th anniversary show. That I can watch it at home.
Yes.
You agree? Am I lying? Sure. Or is this for real? Because I don't know. It seems like there's going to be so much going on, and that some things are going to happen at at the Manhattan Center. And by the way, think about how much Madison Square Garden must be that they didn't decide to have one event on 34th Street and 7th Avenue and have the other event on 34th Street and 9th Avenue. Like that, they're just like, nah, you know what? Barclays and Manhattan.
Yeah,
Center.
but the Barclays has kind of become their spot, and they only go to the Garden for house shows. I don't know if it's a size thing or what. I don't know.
Don't you think just for their live, I thought everything if they for example, if there's a guy,
I don't know what it is.
If there's a guy who shows up at both sides, right? Both sites. Imagine he's in. I love the idea that there's a chance that the BQE could fuck up Monday Night Raw. Traffic on the BQE.
It's going to be at both.
No.
No. Why? What would be the point?
I don't know. I'd pop.
If the guy drove 20 minutes to be on the other at the other arena.
20 minutes, man? I don't know. All right. I guess if you take the Battery Tunnel and there's not a lot of traffic, but if that tube is closed, you got to take the Brooklyn Bridge. You never know, bro.
I don't know. If you got a police escort or something.
All right. That's what
I think you'll be all right.
I'm just going to name some other random streets in New York. Chambers, Prince, just to alienate more of our fans who are not from New York. Okay. And now I'm back. Yeah, so that's one thing. But yeah, this definitely feels like next week is obviously the bigger show. How much of it you think is just going to be a celebration, and how much is it really to go home for Royal Rumble?
I don't know. I guess they're going to do their best to do both simultaneously, but I don't know. It'll be interesting. There's like 50 legends and former superstars coming back.
If they use like 10 legends in one segment, like just like one of those dancing segments, and then fucking Farouk comes out and just goes, "Damn, I'm gonna be pissed." Like I want to see like everybody who they say is gonna be there,
right. And maybe like being on both sites, it'll help because guys will have time to do things, but I don't know how they're gonna film. Like when something has got to be happening simultaneously at both places, right? So I don't know. Maybe they'll have like a picture-in-picture or something like that. It would be cool if they like, oh well, this is going to be on USA, and then this other stream will be on whatever. Watch both, or you can switch back and forth, whatever.
Hey man, I used to do that during the Monday Night Wars all the time, so I'm ready.
Right, exactly.
So I can do it.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting. It'll be cool. You know, like we said, there's a million people announced. Someone that just got announced that I found interesting was MVP.
Yeah, man.
Like MVP, I loved that dude when he was here, but he doesn't strike me as someone that like who's gonna be like super excited that MVP is back for the 25th anniversary.
Buried.
So
there goes, guys. We never got an interview with him now.
No, what I'm saying is like I'm hoping or I'm thinking that this maybe this is like a in-ring return for MVP. Maybe he'll have another run, you know, like he hasn't been brought back in forever. And now he's brought back. Like what moments did MVP have on Raw that were like the greatest? You know, he had the stuff with Matt Hardy and Evander Holyfield and that sort of thing, but I don't know, like, you know, I'm hoping they're bringing him back less for the nostalgia and more for, all right, have one last run, you know, let's put some guys over, have some matches, etc.
Yeah, I don't listen, man. I mean, we've been talking about another name recently that seems like he might be going back to WWE that we haven't mentioned so far this show. Bobby Lashley apparently got pulled from his indie bookings. He's no longer with Impact. I'm very fearful of his return. Look, Lashley, MVP, I don't know, man. There's so many guys. There's so many guys. Like, think about how many guys there are. And I thought Raw still was like not really like you could have skipped that Raw. There's no like what did you miss?
Right.
You know,
nothing.
And think about how many guys are signed to WWE, and there's 3 hours. And honestly, let's
but
go.
It's really not that many. Like, who on Raw and SmackDown is, like, irreplaceable? There's a few main event, you know, the Rollins, the Ambrose, the Reigns, AJ, Owens, Zayn, etc. But there's not a lot of talent top to bottom. Like, Hawkins and Rawley and Ryder, etc. Those are guys, like, that maybe they can be helped by beating a Bobby Lashley, by beating an MVP, something like that. You know, I'm not saying those guys will, but those kind of guys could get helped by these names or bigger stars, whatever, coming back and putting them over. You know what I mean? I don't think any of these guys are coming back. Lashley doesn't want to work a full-time schedule. So I don't know that any of these guys are coming back to be the world champion and be the main guy. I don't think that's their goal right now or their focus. So I don't know. I'm confident enough that, you know, these guys are talented or have a big enough name or something that they would help the next generation of guys or the current crop of guys, you know?
Fair. I guess I'm super skeptical about WWE and
but,
how many
just,
guys they
just
can
think
probably
about
use.
like what you just said. You know, like you just said that Raw was like meh. So wouldn't adding 4 or 5 of these names or recent signings help it be less meh? You know what I mean?
I almost wonder if some of them will be, instead of making it less meh, it'll be more like, oh, this is meh from Smackdown 2004.
But it's not like everyone is back. Like if two guys come back, well, okay. Like look at Shelton Benjamin. He's come back. He's part of a tag team. It is what it is.
I mean, they literally
right, but he's not the IC champion. He's not the US champion. You know what I mean?
Even worse, what did they do with him? What role? They took. I mean, look. You want to talk about Goldust tag partners? They literally just replaced.
Right, both of them. Like Chad Gable is Charlie Haas, and
it's so weird.
That was a dumb move by them. Like to just throw him in there with. Like it's not like they wrestled each other. It's not like they knew each other. They were just like, "Oh, you guys both wrestle? Yeah, you're a tag team." So that was weird, but you know.
Do we talk about SmackDown? Or do we talk about the 9,000 selfies?
I mean,
selfie promos?
I don't know what that was, but there's
that was so weird.
It's the Royal Rumble stuff, but whatchamacallit, the U.S. title tournament thing was good. I like that they were just kind of like, yeah, fuck it, let's just put this all in one night. I like when tournaments are more one night than 7. Fine, I'm hopeful that this leads to something with him and Dolph, where Dolph is the undisputed champion. He never lost. Now Bobby Roode is the champion, so now who's the real U.S. champion? You can do a ladder match at Mania if you want. So, I'm fine with that. I'm looking forward to it, and I think those both were the right moves.
I would have liked to see Jinder win and Roode chase a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the chase is always, generally for the babyface, the most exciting part.
Right, but he has been chasing it. Like, he just fought Corbin and Ziggler. He just fought through the tournament. Like, he has chased it. And I didn't want to see Jinder do the exact same spiel he's did when he was the WWE champ. So I'm fine with the decision they made. I like it, and it makes sense to set up Dolph against Roode or something like that.
Fair. So, what did you think of CMLL? I know you love New Japan. So, what did you think of the FantasticaMania show that came out today?
Couldn't tell you.
You didn't get a chance to watch it?
I didn't think about it.
No? All right. Just so you guys know. So there was one tonight, and there's going to be another one tomorrow. I'm sorry. It'll be Sunday morning at 3 o'clock, and then the last one will be Monday morning at 3 o'clock, I believe. So I'll be able to catch two of them. Pretty cool stuff. Just kind of cool to see. I've been watching a lot of CMLL. Rush is part of LIJ, so seeing him with Naito, and he at one point during his match, he actually pulled the Tranquilo pose, and then Naito ran into the ring and did the same thing, and then they bumped fists. Naito.
Who?
Rush. I don't know if you know who he is. Probably not.
No.
But he's.
I don't think most people do.
Well, he's an LIJ guy from CMLL, and they did the Tranquilo pose and bumped fists. It was pretty dope, and there was some pretty good matches there. So definitely, if you're signed up for New Japan World, there's no reason not to take a look at it. It's pretty good. Night one. So hopefully we'll get back to that. And then the last thing that we have, I guess, is our excitement over being one of the. I mean, I think it's going to be under 50,000 people who will attend this 205 Live tour.
Like total?
I mean, in total, yeah. There's 4 shows, and this arena only holds probably 4,000 people. Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, I think they canceled like the first show. So,
well, look at this. Enzo versus Cedric for the Cruiserweight Championship. Special guest, take a guess.
The referee?
Special guest referee, you'll never guess.
Yeah, Nia Jax.
Oh. Damn it, are you getting emails also?
Yeah, I sent you the picture like yesterday.
Well, Grand Metalik is going to be there, so I'm glad that I don't have to riot.
Thank God.
And Kalisto.
Yeah, I was looking, it's going to be cool to see Hardy and Wyatt in an arena with like 2,000 people, like that would be cool. But like, I was looking at it when they sent the email, and I was just like, holy shit! Like already had the volume. Like it was just like, oh, okay, yeah. This is just 205 Live, okay.
Yeah, this is
hopefully Gulak is there.
Yo, he is. Yo, this is a good Evolve show. Look, Drew Gulak, Tony Nese. All right, hold on. Jack Gallagher, Cedric Alexander, TJP. This is a good. This is Akira Tozawa. This is a good Evolve show, man.
Yeah, with Matt Hardy versus Bray Wyatt. So,
yeah, like I mean, I'm so hyped.
Perfectly fine.
Poughkeepsie, here we come. And by the way, if they're not selling a grenade, like I'm going to just I'm saying this on the show, so Statwife, I'm going to lower my voice because she always says I speak loudly on the show. All our listeners, I promise I will pay any amount of money if they have a Grand Metalik mask. I mean, I already have a Kalisto mask, so I might bring it. I'm a little scared because it's not official WWE mask, so I hope they don't notice. But I'm definitely bringing it, and I'm wearing it. I'm warning you. It's the summer ride. You have nothing, and it's so far. There's no choice. You can't Uber a ride to Poughkeepsie. So, I just, ladies and gentlemen, this is the first time he's actually hearing about this. He's probably not very pleased.
Did you? I don't. What do you mean?
I have a Kalisto mask.
It's not like you can drive it, wear it while you're driving. So who cares?
I'm gonna wear it to the show.
Okay, I'll just echo that on there.
I just want you to know that literally on the list of prohibited items, that's one of the things that you're not. Masks only but see, it says only WWE brand masks will be permitted. Like imagine they check the tag like, yo, that Kalisto mask, is that from MrMaskman.com? I'm like, oh shit. I gotta take it off? I'd be fucking pissed.
Probably make you throw it out like you're a John Cena lock.
Like this is on the same list as weapons.
No, maybe you shouldn't wear it just in case they make you throw it out like you're a John Cena lock. Sorry.
Yes, I'm not sure if we brought this up before, but I definitely went cosplay
like 17 times
as John Cena.
Story.
To New Jersey. Very sad. Very sad I had to throw away my grandfather's actual Master Lock and Chain. He was not pleased with me after that. I was like, that is a weapon. I was like, it's part of my outfit. One of the saddest.
Anyway,
and the replica lock was only half a lock. It wasn't even a full lock, bro. It was only like one side. When you flipped it over, it was empty on the other side. Like, that's such bullshit.
Correct.
Like, it's okay. All right. I see where this is going. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys for joining us this week. If you haven't already, make sure that you guys go over, rate, review, and subscribe. We really like some listener feedback over on iTunes. We've gotten a number. We're very happy to see that the numbers have gone up recently since the beginning of the year. This is 2018 is going to be the most successful year for us. If you want to leave us some feedback, head over also to our email at runningwildpodcast@gmail.com. Or you can tweet us out at runningwildlwos. And you can also find us on Facebook at Running Wild on Wrestling. You can follow me at my Ring of Honor coverage over at pwponderings.com and ROHworld.com. And you can follow me on Twitter at Rich_Laconi, where I try to find a way to tweet about Glacier all the time. With all that out of the way, just want to thank you guys for listening and remind you that you've been listening to the podcast that is just too sweet.
For Rich and Runz, this is the host of Ring of Honor Wrestling, Ian Riccaboni, signing off. Be sure to join them next week for another episode of the Running Wild Podcast.